So you're now aware of all the negative core beliefs that have been maintaining the low self-esteem. What's next? Where do we go from here? Hey, I'm Judith. I'm a confidence and self-esteem coach, and I am on a mission to helping women build lasting confidence through restoring their self-worth. In the last video, we spoke about how to build healthy self-esteem. And we specifically spoke about step 1, which is to understand the unhelpful thinking patterns that are maintaining the low self-esteem. If you haven't yet watched that video, I will highly recommend for you to pause this one and go and watch that video and then come back to this one, because this is step 2. In this video, we are going to be tackling step 2 of my 3U framework, which is to uproot. But how do we do that? One of the ways to do that is to challenge the beliefs that you're having. Let's say you've discovered that you have a belief of not being competent. What do we do with that belief? The first thing is to find evidence that supports this belief. Now, when you're looking for evidence, you need to make sure that you are looking for factual evidence, evidence that can actually stand in a courthouse. So what evidence do you have that supports this belief that you are not competent? Not assumptions you made based on things that didn't go the way that you wanted them to go, but factual evidence that could actually stand in court. If we were to put this belief up for trial, what evidence do you have that supports that you are not competent? The reason why it's important to ensure that the evidence is factual is because a lot of the reasons why we believe in these unhelpful core beliefs are based on assumptions and not facts. Perhaps in a previous role, you made a mistake. It took you a while to pick up a skill. And because it took you so long to pick up a particular skill, because you didn't come across as organized as someone else, you made the assumption that you're not competent, that you're not good enough for that role. Perhaps when it comes to public speaking, you struggle, you stutter. So now you've made the assumption that when it comes to public speaking, you're not competent in that area. But if that was true, and you were truly not competent in public speaking, wouldn't that show up in every scenario where you have to speak in front of an audience? If it was true that you're not competent in your job role, wouldn't you be fired by now? Perhaps at the moment, you may not be at the level that other people are at. But is it fair to say that you're not competent, that you're not good enough? And this is why we don't just look at evidence to support the belief. We also look at evidence that goes against the belief. In what situations have you been competent? And usually whenever I do this with my clients, it's so interesting. Usually they really struggle to find evidence that supports the belief. Now, the mere fact that we have a lot of evidence that goes against the belief shows that that belief that you've been holding onto is not factual, is not true. It's a belief that was created based off an assumption that you made. It's probably a belief that you created during a bad day. You were having a bad moment and you interpreted that bad moment as not being good enough. You interpreted that bad moment as not being competent, and you've stuck to it. You've held on to that identity. Even though when we take time to really dissect the belief, to really challenge it, you will find that there is no truth in that belief. In the last video, I said something about checking for ID. When you have these thoughts, we need to check for ID. And one of the ways that we check the ID of these thoughts is by challenging the thoughts and finding out who actually sent you. If a stranger was to knock on your door and they told you they're coming to check the gas meter or they're coming to check the boiler, I would hope that you would ask for some kind of ID before you let them into your home. And that is how we need to treat these beliefs. It's not every belief that you should accept. Check their ID. Challenge the thoughts. Yes, you feel uncomfortable in that moment. Yes, you've been triggered and you're starting to think you're not good enough. Okay, take a moment, challenge it. What is the evidence that suggests that you're not good enough? What is the evidence that suggests you are good enough? If you're able to find evidence that goes against a belief, then it suggests that that belief is not 100% correct. If it's not 100% correct, we don't have to rely on it. We don't have to hold on to it. We can let go of it, which of course is easier said than done. So what do you then do once you discover that actually there isn't much truth to this belief? You can take it one step further by actually testing it out. So, okay, you believe that you're not good enough. You believe that you're not competent. Let's test it out. Go and do something that scares you. Go and do something that feels out of your comfort zone and see what happens. Because right now you believe that if you were to deliver a presentation, you would stutter, you would make no sense, and nobody would be interested in what you have to say. So test it out. Go create some content and post it on social media and see what happens. Speak to a stranger, compliment a stranger, and see what happens. 9 out of 10 times, what happens does not align with what you predicted would happen. We often predict the worst case scenario. When you actually test out these beliefs, you will find that many of the things that you've been holding onto, that you've been seeing as truth, are actually lies. Because when you actually test it out, what you thought was going to happen, 9 out of 10 times doesn't actually happen. Now imagine how many opportunities you've turned down because you believed that you were not good enough, because you believed that you're not competent, because you believed that you're not the right person for the role. This is why it's important to deal with that low self-esteem, because that low self-esteem is being maintained by those unhelpful core beliefs, many of which we're not even aware of. So check for ID, question the beliefs that come up, challenge them, look for evidence for and look for evidence against. And once you have that evidence, test out that belief, take it a step further, put yourself out there and see whether what you predicted actually happens. Because this is how we then weaken those core beliefs. That's how they start to lose their hold. The more evidence we are able to gather against them. Factual evidence, not your assumptions. Don't let that belief silence you. Don't let that belief cause you to play it safe. Challenge it and test it out so that you can see what actually happens on the other side of that belief. We're going to tackle step 3, which is to unveil, in the next video. But if you can't wait until then, don't worry, I got you. In the description bar below, I have a link to my free ebook, 3 Simple Ways to Overcoming Low Self-Esteem, where I go into more detail into the 3 steps discussed in this video. So if you can't wait, click that link and download your free copy today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to subscribe so that you can be notified of when the next video is out. And on that note, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.